I was sitting there in the optometrist chair, I had this fear and really this terror, like, oh my God, am I going to go blind one day? Am I going to go blind when I'm still young? In this video, I'm going to talk about my myopia. I was recently diagnosed with negative 8.5 in my left eye, negative 6.5 in my right eye. This was really concerning. This is scary. Up until then, I had not given my high myopia a second thought. It was just a minor inconvenience. Usually I'll wear contacts, sometimes I'll wear glasses, but there were no other complications arising from this. And what happened is the last time I went and saw my optometrist, which was a couple of months ago, my progression of the myopia got quite a bit worse. So I'm going to bring it up here on screen. My last appointment was negative 8.5, negative 6.5. The one 2 years prior to that was negative 7.25, negative 5.5. And the one 2 years prior to that was negative 6.75, negative 5.5. So if you look at that progression, the rate of the myopia getting worse increased over the past 2 years, which is what's concerning to me. And that prompted me to think like, okay, if this pattern continues, there's going to be a time where it's not just as simple as wearing contact lenses and glasses. And in my mind, when I was sitting there in the optometrist chair, I had this fear and really this terror, like, oh my God, am I going to go blind one day? Am I going to go blind when I'm still young? And I talked to the optometrist, he talked about all the basic stuff around getting time outside, doing the 20-20-20 rule on the screens, which is, I already knew about those things. And I was already pretty good at doing them. I do work online on the computer, but I don't spend excessive amounts of screen time, like probably 4 to 6 hours a day max. So what was frustrating is I was already doing all the steps that they recommended, and he really had no answer about why my eyes got worse. He just said, hopefully this is the last kick at the can and it stops progressing. So since then, I've researched and opened this Pandora's box of different opinions, conflicting viewpoints, scary possible outcomes, horror stories on subreddits. And I'm sure if you're watching this video, you've probably been down that rabbit hole as well. And overall, I'm optimistic, and I have a 3-pronged approach to try to fix this and solve this and improve this for myself. But what I want to do is share my screen and just walk you through what I've uncovered. And the reason why I want to make this YouTube channel is, first and foremost, it's going to be a video journal to myself about this journey. I'm going to take it really seriously of improving my eyesight to the maximum extent possible and minimizing my risk of serious future complications. Also, it just it makes it a bit more fun for me to do this research. And in my main business, I run an online marketing company. So I'm kind of set up to make YouTube videos and whatnot. So this feels fairly natural. With that in mind, let me share my screen with you guys. All right. So the first thing I looked up is high myopia risk factors. And this was fairly frightening. We got cataract, a few things I can't really pronounce, chorioretinal atrophy, macular hole with or without retinal detachment, myopic fovescisis, or optic nerve head changes. Now, I looked into more of these. Like retinal detachment seems to be one of the most frightening, also because weightlifting increases your risk of this, and I do enjoy weightlifting. But many of these can be potentially things that lead to serious vision impairment and or blindness. So this was frightening. The next thing I looked up is, can you reverse myopia? I learned what it is, the elongation of the eyeball. And basically the mainstream medical conclusion is myopia cannot be reversed. So I'm thinking, okay, cool. Like all these serious side effects or my risk factor for these serious eye and vision issues is greatly increased, and there's no way to fix this. So I kept going. I looked through subreddits and again read lots of scary firsthand stories. This person having detached retina, surgery, back to normal, scared of it happening again. There's other stories. So this woman, she's only 7 years old and she's already like losing her vision, which is pretty frightening. Like that's really young to lose your vision. So lots of scary firsthand stories. And then what I came across was this guy, Jake. He runs a business called Myopia. He has, he seems to be, from what I've seen, he's the person with the biggest following in the like natural myopia cure space. And a lot of what he says makes a lot of intuitive sense. He has a big following on his Facebook group. His YouTube videos get a lot of people. He does have a lot of interviews of people that have made significant improvements in their prescriptions. So, naturally I was very intrigued with this, and I still am. What I'd like to do is actually reach out to some of these people that he's interviewed and have a phone call with them, and just talk to them like one-on-one about their journey. And I don't know at this point if Jake's method works, how legit it is or not. I do know that like the mainstream world definitely says this stuff doesn't work, but I think that mainstream medicine has such a high burden of proof that often things that are true will not make it through peer-reviewed medical journals in time to actually come into effect when they are in fact true. So I do believe that. So this is interesting, and it's just this world of natural eyesight improvement is extremely controversial. So we have this one, then we have people on subreddit who talk about they've gone through Jake's and myopia program, and with this person, it basically completely messed up his eyes, and it resulted in a bunch of holes in his retina, seeing bright flashes. Jake recommends this active focus method, and according to this guy, the active focus method totally messed up his eyes way further than they were before. And there were a few other people that commented here that the same thing happened to them. It caused a lot of floaters, double vision, light flashes. So that is pretty frightening. It's something that I want to be careful of before going too far down this rabbit hole. A few other things I looked at. I found some YouTube videos on how to fix your eyes naturally. I've done this guy's exercise a few times. I've done this yoga video here a few times. And I also watched this video from Andrew Huberman. I generally do respect Andrew Huberman. I've listened to a handful of his other podcasts. He strikes me as a very genuine person. And, there's a bunch of action points in this video. This viewer summarized them actually pretty well. Sunlight, outdoors, for every 90 minutes of close work, do 20, 30 minutes outdoor time. Let's sleep in a fully black room, practice looking at things far away, do some like exercises about looking at a pen. And this guy also is like, he's using your finger, but you're tracing the finger. So he has a lot of points here. And what I will show you guys is my current protocol, what I'm doing so far. And before I jump into the specifics, what I'll say is that I'm actually approaching this from four angles. The first one is the traditional Western medicine approach, the rules like the 20-20-20 method, the optometry industry and ophthalmologists. I think there's a lot of truth in the mainstream method. I'm a man of science. I deeply believe in the scientific method. I believe in the tradition of peer-reviewed medical journals. So I'm definitely going to take the mainstream approach very seriously. And I'm also someone that sees the limitations in that. So I'm looking at the traditional Western approach. I'm looking at the natural eye remedy approach, the eye yoga, the natural eye exercises, people like Jake Steiner and myopia. I'm going to look into that. Before I start seriously doing those exercises, I want to talk to real people that have had improvements. If I have to, I'll pay them for their time and paid to have conversations with them. I don't mind doing that. Thirdly, I'm actually also approaching this from a spiritual point of view. I think while I am a man of science, I also think that the deeper spiritual connection and also the connection between thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and your body is very real. So there's nothing to lose by going down that path in addition to the Western approach and the natural approach. So that's the third one I'm going to be doing. And then the fourth piece is just the belief that over the next 20 years, there will be new technology that comes out that is likely going to be able to improve myopia. Myopia is on the rise in a very significant way. Maybe I'll find some stats and put it up here on the screen after the video. But myopia is a huge problem in the world. It's $1 billion industry, which means that there's an incentive for scientists and doctors to create new solutions, new procedures, etc. It's kind of like cataracts. Like when people get into their 60s and 70s, most of them get cataracts and need surgery. And 50 years ago, they didn't have cataract surgery. So you would just go blind when you're in like your 60s if you happen to develop cataract. So that's an example. And I think that same thing could happen for ways to help cure, mitigate the negative effects of myopia. So I'll jump in here and show you what I'm doing so far. And this is really early. My protocol is going to change, but these were just the basics that I wanted to start doing right away. Okay, so this is my eye health protocol right now. The first piece is 8 hours of sleep in a very dark room. This is something that Huberman talks about, and this is something that, regardless of whether or not it helps your eyes, it's just good for you. The second thing I've been doing is some kind of eye exercises and yoga. So I've been alternating between this guy's exercises and this eye yoga video. In my gut, I don't think any of these exercises are going to do harm. My eyes feel better after doing them. So I'm currently doing those. They take about 5 minutes in the morning. From the spiritual standpoint, I am doing a daily I want to see affirmation. And that's just something I'm layering on top. The 20-20-20 rule. This is something we all know about. I think like every modality that you look at it through agrees that screen time is bad. So I'm very strict about spending 20 minutes looking at the computer, then take at least 20 seconds to look at something like 20 feet or 20 meters away. Minimizing phone time. Again, this is something that every path and every person agrees on, that phones are really bad for your eyesight. This one is actually my favorite one. Is I'm doing nature walks daily without my glasses. So every morning I'm going down to the park and doing like a 15-20 minute walk through the park without my glasses. So everything's very blurry at my prescription level, and just relaxing my eyes, but at the same time, looking at the trees, looking at the branches, looking at the sunlight filtering through the canopy. And that feels really healthy to me. Like it intuitively feels like it's healthy. And again, being out in sunlight and nature is something that even the Western traditional medicine agrees with as well. And the last piece is I'm only wearing my contact lenses 4 to 5 days a week. So personally, I don't really like wearing glasses. I much prefer contact lenses. And previously I'd wear contact lenses like 7 days a week. So right now I'm taking at least 2 to 3 days a week to wear my glasses. And I think that's a good step. And honestly, guys, so far it could be a placebo effect, but I feel like it's helping a little bit. I've been on that protocol for like 4 or 5 days now. And I swear my eyesight when I'm wearing my contacts is just 1% sharper. So I'm optimistic. I think that the prospect of losing your vision is definitely really scary. But something that's kind of helped me cope with this is that, first of all, everyone goes blind eventually, whether or not it's at the time of their death or a couple months before their death or a couple years before their death. Everyone goes blind. So it's just a matter of appreciating your vision while you have it. Another thing to think about is everyone I know has some kind of health issue that they're wrestling with. And this only increases as you get older. Some people get cancer. Some people have a heart problem. Some people get in a car crash and have to be in a wheelchair. And some people have eye issues. So I think it's, we don't get to choose our battles, but we do get to choose how to face them. And that's just part of life, is like dealing with your mortality and doing everything you can to live as healthy as you can for as long as you can. I'm someone that takes my health really seriously. So I like something that Tony Robbins says about being the CEO of your own health. And when it comes to diet, exercise, like other areas of health, I'm very, very dialed in. I would say the one that is now most worrisome to me is my eye health. But yeah, it's just another challenge to overcome, And I do believe that by leveraging your challenges, embracing them, and in some weird way using them to your advantage, it's a powerful way to approach life. So even for me, making this YouTube video is kind of almost like an act of strength or an act of defiance, in that I'm not going to let this eye problem beat me. So thank you guys for watching. You can expect more videos from me. And let me know in the comments if this resonates with you. Would love to meet fellow people on this journey. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.